Most of the time we seek items in video games because they have some inherent use. However, some don't. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, the 10 big video game items that were absolutely useless. Starting off at number 10, it's the Giant's Knife from Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. When you are adult Link, you can go to the Goron City and pay 200 rupees for, this. I mean, it's cool. Look at it. It's awesome looking. It's also twice as powerful as the Master Sword. However, you use it a little bit and it breaks. And when I say a little bit, I mean a little bit. What you end up keeping after that happens is just a hilt and a small bit of the sword, and it doesn't do a lot. While it is cool to carry around a big broken giant's knife, it does the same amount of damage as the Kokiri sword, which is the first sword in the game. Other than some very limited use you might get by buying one of these things and taking it into a boss fight and dealing some damage up front, which I don't know if you'd even want to do on account you need both hands for it, you don't have a shield, it leaves you open for damage. I mean, it's really not worth the 200 rupees in my eyes. At number 9 is the Pendant from Dark Souls. When you first make a character in Dark Souls, you get a starting gift, which can be good if you select carefully. There's some useful stuff. You can select like 10 black fire bombs, a goddess's blessing, which is
It'll restore your health and get rid of status effects.
Or the Master Key,
which gives you the ability to unlock some doors long before you would normally be able to.
The Pendant is one of these starting gifts. It sounds like it might be useful. Most RPGs have a trinket slot, an accessory slot, whatever, for items like this. But if you check its description, it just says this: a simple pendant with no effect. Even so, pleasant memories are crucial to survival on arduous journeys. It says it doesn't do anything. However, these games love having secrets. So a lot of people take it believing, they're just trying to trick me, it's probably good for something. In an interview, Hidetaka Miyazaki, the director of the game, even said that he would pick nothing, or he would pick the pendant, which implied pretty strongly that it had some sort of secret purpose. It didn't. He is just a troll. He came out later, he said the pendant doesn't do anything at all, it's just a prank. Thanks, Miyazaki. At number 8 is Hetsu's gift from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This is actually a huge one. There's 900 Korok seeds in Breath of the Wild in total. It's just a huge amount of collectibles. People assumed there had to have been some sort of great reward for finding all of them. Otherwise, why bother? Like, why put that many of them in the darn game? Now, finding Korok seeds isn't a useless act. Giving them to Hetsu can unlock additional weapon slots, but you don't even need half of the total 900 seeds to completely max out the amount of weapons you can carry. If you get all 900 of them, though, you get Hetsu's gift, which is, a drum roll please, a golden poop. A poop that is gold. The description for the item is a gift of friendship given to you by Hetsu. It smells pretty bad. Let's just go ahead and ask the question, why are we giving poop as a gift of friendship, Hetsu? What is in your brain that you think that's a good idea? This person collected an obscene amount of Korok seeds, and I actually didn't really spend a lot of time on the Korok seeds. I kind of just got immersed in the world and ended up spending all my time going through the story and just exploring. I did find some Korok seeds over the course of that, but knowing that instead of a light at the end of the tunnel, there is a turd, I'm not going to bother. At number 7 are shields in Final Fantasy VI. In the original release of Final Fantasy VI for the Super Nintendo, if you were, like me, a United States child, it was Final Fantasy III at the time. However, we know it by its proper number nowadays. The physical evasion stat was actually bugged out. It didn't actually do anything. The magic evasion stat, however, still worked, and in fact was used for both physical and magical attacks. So basically the magic evasion stat affected a character's ability to avoid both magic and physical attacks. Why does that make shields useless? Well, because most shields in the game only boost physical evasion, so if you get one and equip it, it boosts a bugged out stat that doesn't do anything. Now keep in mind this has been fixed in ensuing versions of the game, and there's even a hack to fix it if you, say, play it on an emulator. But if you pop a Final Fantasy III cartridge into an SNES, you're stuck with it. At number 6, the arrows of slaying in Baldurs Gate 2. By their name, you would think badass. And these rare arrows actually do have an effect. Upon touch, they do kill any ogre mage. They're actually quite useful in the original Baldur's Gate, but in the sequel, there's only one ogre mage in the entire game, and it's part of a quest where you're given the option to spare it. Baldur's Gate is a Dungeons & Dragons game, and it works a little differently when you're talking about your player levels than most games. In the first game, you're between levels 1 and 7 or 8, where an ogre mage is pretty nasty, while in the sequel, you start out at level 8, and you can get up between levels 14 and 21. At this point, ogre mages, they're chumps, they don't matter, who cares? Still, the game gives you these arrows as if you need them, you don't, and again, you're able to spare that ogre mage. Which you should, because you're a good person, right? Just kidding, who cares? At number 5 is the Werebane from Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Ah, what a game. I absolutely love Castlevania Symphony of the Night. However, if you wanted to get a weapon that does bonus damage against the werebeasts, that seems like it'd be pretty useful in the setting that we know Castlevania to take place in. But there's only one enemy in the game that is a werebeast. That would be the werewolf. Originally fought with the Minotaur in the Colosseum, this guy later shows up in the reverse Colosseum. Yeah, and it doesn't even matter at that point, he's just a common enemy there. And you're like way stronger than them at that point. You can kill them a few hits with basically any weapon. On top of that, the weapon was bugged. It didn't actually give you any bonus damage anyway, which is like the funniest thing in the world. Because you've got this weapon called the Werebane, and it does nothing other than, being a weapon. It's basically like just a bane, actually. It's called the Werebane, just a bane though. Just a bane. At number 4 is X-Ray Vision in Superman 64. Now let's just go ahead and say Superman 64 wasn't a very good game anyway, so you could maybe make the argument that all items in it were useless because the game itself is kind of useless. But let's just go ahead and say this right off. Like, Superman's powers in this game are pickups. Like, you have to collect them to use them, which is, probably one of the reasons why there hasn't been another Superman game, because that's such a ridiculous, stupid idea. I feel like it's one of the things that has stigmatized further Superman games. Like, we haven't had one in a very long time, and for good reason, I think. The closest thing was Undefeated on Steam last August, which if you haven't played, I'd highly recommend it. It's free, and it's great. But X-Ray Vision is worse than all of the other powers that you pick up. It doesn't do anything. You find it in level 6, and when you use it, literally nothing happens, like, at all. You don't need it for anything, it serves no purpose in the game, and yeah, it almost feels like it just got left in by accident. At number 3, the Real Knife and Locket in Undertale. On paper, both of these things sound awesome. They boost your attack and defense to 99. There is, however, a problem. The only way to get these items is by getting to the end of the genocide route, which is exactly what it sounds like. You kill every enemy in the game until there are no more enemies left to fight. There is only one fight you can use these weapons on too, Sans, and they only have 1 HP. Still, they're by far the hardest boss in the game, but the bonus item literally does nothing to help you in this. At number 2 is a chair from Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which, to carry on the tradition of Symphony of the Night, there is of course lots of useless things in this game. The most useless thing, however, is probably the chair mimic's shard. You get shards randomly from defeating enemies in this game, and they grant you a special ability that's based on the enemy's attack. Now, if you use the chair mimic's shard, well, a chair appears. It doesn't do anything, you can sit on it, that's it. It's cool that you can sit on the chair that appears. At least it doesn't do literally nothing, but relatively speaking, that's nothing. That doesn't mean anything in game. It doesn't change anything for you as the player. It's kind of just a useless thing.
You'll pay for this transgression. Death is too kind for you.
And finally, at number 1, the ultimate reward from La Mulana. In La Mulana, an already notoriously obtuse and difficult Metroidvania-style game, there's a secret location known as the Hell Temple, and just accessing it is hard enough on its own. The place really lives up to its name with a confusing layout, one-way teleporters, pits everywhere, tons of enemies that are constantly attacking, so on and so forth. It's called the Hell Temple. You get it. If you get all the way through it and beat the boss, you get your final reward, the Skimpy Swimsuit, which changes your character sprite both in the inventory screen and in-game. And that's it. And yeah, I mean, look, you see what it is, right? That's not enough to beat the Hell Temple for. Well, that's all for today. That's a whole lot of useless items, eh? Which one did you think was the most useless? Do you have any useless items you thought of while you were watching this? Let us know. We're always interested to hear what people think. If you enjoyed the video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe and enable all notifications. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.